You're under contract. Now what? You know, a lot of buyers, especially first-time home buyers, are kind of confused, or maybe you haven't bought a house in a long time. You're like, what is the process? And it's kind of funny because everybody expects this difficult process, and really we make it easy for you on our team. So one of the most common answers we get at the end of the transaction is, wow, that was a lot easier than I thought. At first, buying a house is a lot like shopping. We help you find the house, but then we write the contract, and what do you expect then? Well, there are some things that we need to get done between going under contract and getting you into your home. So let's talk about those. Well, first off, what are the costs involved? Well, when you write the offer, usually there's going to be some earnest money. Now, we have a very savvy investor that doesn't do earnest money. So sometimes the earnest money can be very low, but sometimes you're trying to compete and you say, hey, I'll likely get the earnest money back, so that could be a larger number. The most common number we see is probably $1,000, but of course when things are really competitive, that might go up. We've seen people put all the money down as earnest money. So we'll talk about that. But if you're a first-time home buyer and you got $1,000, you're probably ready to go there. The other things are going to be things that you pay for along the way. The first one is going to be the inspection or the appraisal. It just kind of depends on how we work things out with the lender. But the inspection is going to be usually between $350 and $500 depending on the house. If they have to go in a crawl space, if we want them to inspect outbuildings, if it's a really old house, that's where it gets on the higher end. And it could go over $500 if there's a lot of that. But if you think $350 to $500 for that, you're probably okay. And then for the appraisal, it's around $500 to $550. And again, there's exceptions. If it's a certain type of property where they have to get multiple appraisals, that's very unusual, but it could be more. So essentially, if you think $1,000 for earnest money and maybe $1,200 for inspections and appraisal, you'll probably be fine. And keep in mind, the earnest money will typically come back to you at closing and go towards any closing costs that you might have. So once we're under contract, our team is going to schedule that inspection for you. The lender is going to schedule the appraisal for you. The most important thing that you need to do is get everything to the lender that they ask you for. That's the thing that will keep us on track. If they're asking you for your documents and you don't get them until late in the game, that could delay closing and cause issues. So that's your number one job as a buyer, is get your documents to the lender. But otherwise, we try to handle everything for you. We have Maria on our team, and her full-time job is to make sure we don't miss any deadlines or dates that would give the seller an advantage over you in negotiating. We don't want to send our report and they say, oh, well, your time expired yesterday to ask for repairs. No, we're going to be ahead of that for you. So we're going to take care of that. Again, the lender's going to schedule the appraisal. We'll be sending things to the attorney so that you're set to go there. Do let us know if you need a power of attorney. That's another thing if you're not going to be here for closing. But you're going to talk to us about all of that. And ultimately, you're going to get to the end of this transaction and say, wow, that was really easy, and you helped us handle everything. So that's what we want. If you have any other questions about it, please let me know. And if you're thinking about buying a house, you want to call me as soon as possible, so I can also help you get with the lender, see if there's anything we need to do to get you the best interest rate. Maybe if you're going to be getting out of your apartment in a few months, we need to look at what that'll look like. Sometimes people think they don't need to move for a few months, but when you start looking at how long the process takes and everything else, we should really get started right away. So give us a call at the Fox Family Team, and we will look forward to helping you through the home buying process.